Approximately 1 in every 59 children are born with autism. Albert Einstein.
Dr. Einstein had no speech until age 3. Steve Jobs, he was a loner. He brought snakes to school.
Leonardo da Vinci. This man was far advanced on the autism spectrum.
I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
When was the last time you suddenly noticed that something is different with your child, and what did you do about it? This is Lloyd I am, and you're listening to Takiwātanga, Love Not Cure, Exploring Autism One Strength at a Time. Here's a little backstory about our autism journey, and this is what happened. We were a family of 5. I have 3 kids, a boy, a girl, and a boy. We were migrants from the Philippines. My family moved here in New Zealand in 2013, and since coming here, we have never traveled back to visit our relatives until my wife and I decided that we should go pay a visit. I think that was around 2019, and at that time my kids were 7, 4, and 2. It was also the first time that we are traveling outside of New Zealand since getting here as a family, and everyone was super excited at that time. We were all excited, packing things up and planning out where to go and who to visit to, trying to make sure that we get the best out of the 3-week timeline that we have planned out to visit our friends and family during those times. So traveling to the Philippines takes about, I think, 12 to 14 hours, and that's depending on the route that your flight will be taking. During the flight, it was a pretty quiet journey for us when we got there, especially during the flight itself and in between stops. I think I can only remember a travel hiccup when my youngest son showed some resistance to wearing his seatbelt, and this is when he was sitting on her mom's lap because it was required during takeoff and landing. He was resisting, and I remember the crew helped us out with that. It took a while before we were able to settle him. There was a time when the plane was about to take off, and we forced him with the seatbelt so that we can take off. So he was crying at that time and shouting. But yeah, we can't do anything about it because it's a requirement for safety reasons. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenging situation for us at that time. We landed in the Philippines the following day. So we stayed there, I think, about 3 weeks, and our schedule was full at that time because it's our first time traveling and visiting our family and friends, and it was a great time, so to speak. We met with our friends, we met with our families when we were there. We were going out and about, eating in restaurants, catching up with the food that we missed as well, so which is very important at that time. Most of the places that we went were either crowded and most of the time noisy and very busy. And everything seems to be working out okay. Suddenly, in the middle of our 3-week visit, we noticed a sudden change in the behavior of my youngest son. He suddenly doesn't want to go out. He just wanted to stay inside the house. He only wants to be with his mom. He doesn't even want to be with me. He also started to get agitated for most of the time that we were out, and it's becoming frustrating. You know how it looks, right? When suddenly everything that you have planned out started to dwindle and off the trail or get off the track. Though we've seen or experienced this behavior change from him, we just thought he's just being a 3-year-old, 2-year-old kid and just having tantrums because he just don't want to go, or he's just overwhelmed. Given that, we just carried on with our plans. We went out and we met with our friends and our relatives, and yeah, basically tried to enjoy our trip. The journey going back here was not a nightmare, or was not a nightmare experience for us, and everything seems to be quiet and calm for my kids, especially for my youngest. We didn't notice any agitated behavior from him during that flight, so we just went back home and with our same old routine. And then about a few weeks after, we noticed that my youngest has stopped making eye contact with us. And every time we are talking to him and trying to communicate something with him, he just don't or won't look at us. And also he started to wake up in the middle of the night. Those are weeks of sleepless nights for me and my wife especially. And he wakes up somewhere between 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. When he's awake at night, most of the time he's shouting and sometimes he's crying loud. And it's bothering. In those times, it felt different because you know that there's something happening to him and there's something that is not making sense at all. I think it took us about a month or two to get him to be seen by a GP because we thought, okay, this is just him being a kid. We also never thought of actually bringing him for any consultation at all because we were under the assumption that it was nothing serious or something like that. And then we thought, given he was just at such a young age, it was just okay. And like I said, he's just being a kid. The good thing about our situation is that we have other two kids as well. So we have a comparison of behaviors and experiences. So at that time, it was pretty obvious that something is really not making sense. And my wife also started having her own suspicions about my child's behavior. Cutting the story short, we decided to see our doctor to make sure that there's nothing wrong with my son. So we went ahead and met with our doctor and we were interviewed to get the background and understand the whole picture as to what can possibly have triggered the sudden change in my son's behavior. So after the consultation and based on what the doctor have assessed, after the consultation and based on the information that we have provided, we were told that my son has autism. So yeah, we were referred to a specialist to get a more detailed assessment, including blood tests. From the time we were seen by our GP until the time we met our specialist doctor, it took us about, I think at that time, 7 to 8 months. I remember that was the hype of the COVID lockdowns and a lot of appointments got delayed, including ours. I actually did a follow-up with our appointment, and I remember I was talking to the staff from the district health and they told me that there were about 200 plus appointments that got delayed and they have a big backlog during that time. So a few months later, my son was seen by a specialist and a speech therapist from our district health, and we got our recommendations to access the support that we needed for him. There were 2 sessions during the interview with our specialist. There's about a month gap in between those sessions. I think this is important to say that we were very upfront and very open to mention that we have suspicions that my son may be in the autism spectrum. And in my opinion, the success of any assessment is also coupled with acceptance from parents that the child needs help. So that was the start of our journey on autism. There were no problems with his blood test. And right now, we're looking at having his hearing test as well to rule out any hearing problems. After the assessment, we were assigned with a coordinator from the district health to help us with accessing the different support available for us. We were also provided with information on what funding we can access, like carer support, free nappies, therapies, trainings, and so on. So in the succeeding episodes, I will talk more about those training sessions. I think that's another key factor as well that we are looking at to be able to help us in this journey. In addition to this, we are working with my son's transition from kinder to primary. This is on the Ministry of Education side. So aside from the coordinator assigned to my child from the district health, there will be another support on the education side. So in the future, I will also publish episodes around this journey and how the transition went. There are a lot of challenges that we have encountered during this journey, and I know that there will be more ahead of us. Also, we have this fear of COVID, uncertainty, family gets sick, and then balancing our attention, our time with our other kids, because we've got 3 kids, Two of them also have their own needs, and we need to balance that. By the way, I'm not complaining nor comparing my situation to anyone. Everyone has different situation. Everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about. I know this is part of being alive, and I'm just saying this to make a point. Life is already challenging, but we should always remember how to live and enjoy it with our family. Any help available to us, I would suggest to grab them, no matter how small or big, because this will help ease some challenges we are already going through. Any opportunity available, financial support, learning support, grab them by all means. Don't hold back. Don't be ashamed that you are getting help. This is so important. You need them and you're entitled to them. Find your support group or support team who can help you with this journey. No one should be alone in this. The key thing here as parents is to learn as much as we can about autism, about our kids, what skills do they need. So if you want to be patient so you can help your child more, study how to be patient. If you want to be happy so you can share this happiness to your child, study happiness. If you want to learn more about autism, study about autism. Attend training sessions. Anything that can help you deal with your situation, do grab them. All right, so since I wanted to cement whatever I have learned from those trainings that I will be attending or I have attended so far, I would like to discuss them in my succeeding episode so I can also teach you or tell you what strategies you can possibly try as well on your own time. I will be giving my insights, approach, and some examples and how we can leverage on those strategies. So stay tuned on those upcoming episodes. I hope you did get something out of this episode. What I like about our journey up to this point is every day as a parent, I am learning a lot of things around my kids, especially from my youngest who has autism. I know there's so much ahead of us, and as parents, our success lies in being able to guide our kids to the path where they can be who they want to be and experience this joy of living. How about you? What do you like about your journey of autism? For our next episode, I'll be discussing some summary of the training that we have attended, so stay tuned. Every tangata fight Takiwātanga, or person with autism, is different. If you fail with one strategy, don't stop. Keep moving forward. Always remember that for every failure you encounter is one step closer to your success. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, Memuto te whakawa haere. Let's stop judging others. Me mahi tahi tato. Let's all work together. Kia maya, kia kaha, be brave and be strong. Please don't forget to like and share so others can also find us. Thank you.